I messed up. I feel like I'm stuck. I'm lost and I don't know what to do. I feel helpless. I'll never make it.
If you've clicked on this video, those are probably some of the thoughts that have been going through your head recently. In this day and age, whether you're 18 or 65 years old, whether you're just graduating high school, just graduating college, or you're planning to retire, right? There's a lot of things in your life that cause you to think different kinds of thoughts than you're usually comfortable with, that bring things to the surface from your past. And I'm here in this video. My goal is to come clean about not only my personal situation and make this kind of like an accountability video, but also maybe some of you can get an insight of how I've been thinking about my life and relating to my personal situation, and try to help you open up your eyes to your own, maybe get some negative thoughts out of the way, negative beliefs. But as you saw in the intro of the video, those are some common thoughts that a lot of people have when they're dealing with stress, imposter syndrome, anxiety, confusion, just feeling lost in general, feeling like they are not where they want to be, or you're not where you want to be, you haven't accomplished things that you've wanted to accomplish at the point of life you're at. So in this video, I'm going to come clean about my personal situation. Now I know there's wars breaking out all over the world. I'm not here to get political, but I do understand everyone has specific situations, some more traumatic than others, some that don't really see the bigger picture, some that have dealt with so much in their lives they don't even know how to come back to reality. And I'm trying to ground everyone by giving my perspective on my own personal scenario and what goes on in my mind, how I get around it, and how I'm planning to change it as well going forward. So without further ado, get into the video. So my name is Jack Troya. If you haven't seen my channel before, I am 21 years old. I just turned 21. I started this channel back in December of last year with the goal of documenting my journey to become a licensed real estate agent in the state of New York. I'm trying to move to Florida. That's what I'm planning on. But up until now, my life over the past few years has been sort of a recovery from a really big rut. Pot addiction. I mean, people say they're not, or they are addicted to pot. I have a whole podcast on that, which is my most popular episode on my podcast collective. And I had a specific addiction to it, which was more emotional, and I have my own opinions. Everyone deals with it differently. It's legal, I understand that, but I give my perspective on part of some of the situations that kept me held back from what I wanted to do. Now, that's just that side of things. When it comes to my actual life, I've had to move 5 times in the last 2 years. So I haven't been able to settle down properly. I haven't been able to ground myself in an area, make friends, build connections, really get focused on my personal pursuits. I've had a lot of changes that have been made that I'm trying to still adjust to this day. But like I said, last year I created this channel with the main goal of documenting my journey to becoming a licensed real estate agent, growing that business, and eventually buying my own rental properties, because that's what I want to do. That's how I'm planning to build wealth, and that's what I am in the works of, right? So back then, I started making some videos, and I got to a point where I was in class and I was almost gonna pass, and I failed my test 2 times. The course I went through required me to take it all over again. So right around that time, I stopped uploading. I'd said multiple times in my previous videos that I was trying to make daily uploads, let alone weekly, monthly, or quarterly uploads, right? I set a goal that I did not stick to. So there's a lot of things that have led to my personal feeling of lack, personal feeling of that I'm not doing enough, and that I'm also kind of lying to myself and not being accountable, right? So I want to get into this first point of accountability, right? For the past 4.5, 5 years, I have been in online business, really since I was 15, but I didn't start taking it serious until around 17 years old. And there's a lot of things that I had set for myself. You know, you find all those people online. I know a lot of people struggle with this. You see the one unicorn, right, who makes all this money, it makes it seem like they make a ton of money, and you kind of get distracted with the flashiness. You try to learn what that person does, and they're not giving the full details, so you don't make it, it doesn't work for you, and then you keep jumping from thing to thing, and you can't figure it out. You can't find out what you want to do if you're in the online business space. And this can happen in other industries, other spaces, but in particular the online business space was where I was struggling the most, because that's where I saw the most of my future. I didn't go to college. I saw the flaws in the education system, and I also did not have the will to go to school. I hated high school. I hated most of my years in school, and I knew I wasn't going to make the most out of college if I even bothered to go in the first place. But I took to online learning. So courses, going to events, just learning from people on YouTube, joining communities, networking online, Zoom classes, all that kind of stuff. That's my path. That's what I decided to get into. Now, when it came down to it, I had set up a series of beliefs in my own mind, which I have now deconstructed, and I understand why things didn't work out the way I expected them to, or the way I wish they did. And when I set up these beliefs, I was going off of other people and comparing myself to them in their position, where they are, and then where I thought I should be in a certain period of time. I didn't take into account the actual work it took. I didn't take into account the, maybe investments things took in the beginning, or the amount of time, or the correct way of doing things. I just expected to be at a certain point by working, but not really getting much done. I was doing a lot of work, but not being productive, right? So when it came down to it, I was kind of lying to myself. I was telling myself, don't worry, just keep doing what you're doing. It's just gonna happen one day, yada, yada. And what that ended up doing, instead of maybe faking it till I made it, it kind of gave me an imposter syndrome towards my actual aspirations. So as I set up these walls, I started to not believe myself more and more as I went. I know some of you might have experienced that, or maybe it's not even like an affirmation, it's like you're almost lying to yourself, because you're not affirming things in the right way. I'll have another video on how to properly do affirmations. It's a whole different topic. But I set up a series of lies that kept me in this loop of telling myself that I was doing the right thing, even though I was doing the completely wrong thing. I didn't have too much guidance when I was younger. Parents divorced, lived with a stepdad, my mom, a couple siblings, but I was alone most of that time. I spent most of my time in my room trying to learn. From about 14 years old, I started reading books, started doing those online classes and all that. Some things were good, some things maybe I could have done without because of the people that were actually teaching it. But in the beginning, that all set up a series of beliefs, and I'm getting into where this has led me now. So let's skip a couple of years down the line. Weed came into the picture. I had set up a persona that I didn't really like online. It wasn't true to me. There was kind of some lies behind the scenes, and I wasn't being completely honest, and I saw how that was actually holding me back. So my goal was to disappear from the internet, disappear from my presence, let that all go away, restart fresh, clean, being completely truthful. So in that period of time though, I had let myself down in a way to where I thought I had completely failed. And I'm only 17 at this time. So you can see where imposter syndrome comes in. You kind of get upset, you don't end up where you think you are at a certain time frame. So as someone who is hypercritical of myself, I took that as a major hit on my ego, on my just overall happiness, and it kind of sent me to a depression. So from the age of like 17 to 19, I was severely depressed. I went from 180 pounds working out every day, ripped, to 260 pounds in the span of 2 years. And it really took a toll on my mental health, my confidence, my self-worth, everything that held me up, everything that gave me a positive belief in my future took a hit because of the series of lies I had built up. try to deconstruct, but then also had nothing going on in that time frame. So I felt like I was going backwards. I wasn't in college. COVID was here. It was a whole mess, right? And I know a lot of people experience that in different ways, but you understand that level of disappointment you might have in yourself, right? Come the end of 2022, get myself back on track. I decide I am going to go and get my real estate license. I'm like, this is gonna be the next thing. I'm gonna own my own business. It gives me kind of like a head on people that don't have it, because I'm younger. I can get more experience. I can network better. I understand on social media. I can build websites. I can do all this kind of stuff. So I decided to get my license. That didn't happen in the period of time that I expected it to. It ended up taking me, instead of 3 months, it took me like 7-8 months, because I had failed the test twice. The third time I went to a new school, passed it the first time, both state and the course exam. But in that time frame, I had said to myself, I'm going to upload content on YouTube, and I'm going to upload content on my podcast every single week consistently. And that did not happen at all. I was procrastinating. I'm an avid procrastinator. I have an addictive personality, so when I get sucked into something, my brain might get completely distracted. I'll use that as an excuse. So I know that's also what happened with me. So as of right now, I'm making a complete promise to myself. I understand what has been going on in my past. I don't blame myself for it. But I want to use this as a way to show somebody and show people, like, okay, if you put it out there enough, you actually decide to take action. Maybe you invest a little bit of money into equipment you might need for something. It can help give that accountability in a world where you might not have the people to keep you accountable. You have interests and things you want to be consistent with, and people that don't really understand that or actually care, right? So and you're surrounded by those people, so you're the one that has to keep accountability for yourself to push things out, build that, let's say, follower base, or build that content base that you want for the future. My goal with this channel, I don't exactly want to show my journey, let's say, per se, on just real estate. I'll take you guys along with things that I do with that, but I'm going to be showing more of my day-to-day scenario, going from where I'm at right now. I'm at a new low, I guess I can say. I'm not smoking weed. It's been over a year. I've been sober for a year now. I have never and I never will take any other drugs. I don't vape. So starting from where I am now, I don't have a lot of money. I am working a normal job at a gym right now, while I'm also trying to build up my real estate business. I'm taking on trying to learn wholesaling real estate, so that's something else I'm going to be participating in, but I'm not making any commitments to that 100%. But my main goal is to show you guys the struggles I have every single day, the things that go through my mind, how I'm pushing through them, and maybe even me just putting out these pieces of content is going to show people the reality of it. I'm going to try not to edit these videos. These are going to be completely raw. When I go out and do stuff, I'll make it more entertaining, but these kind of face-to-face, like updates like this, I want to show people that it does get better. It's something you can pull yourself out of. I have big dreams and aspirations that I've had for a long period of time, and I've watched other people in that same period of time go from where they were to where they wanted to be, while I stayed still. And I want to prove to myself through bringing this content to YouTube and keeping accountability to myself that I can do the exact same thing. I want to move out. I want to do a bunch of different things. I'm living in an area I'm not used to. I'm still new in Albany, New York. If anyone's around here, hit me up. Love to network. Build a connection group, build an accountability group, and I want to try to be that example at some point. Right? I understand where I'm at right now. I understand I'm not that example, but I want to be somewhere people can go to and be like, oh, okay, he's screwing up here. He had screwed up in the past. He's trying to get back on his 2 feet. He's gonna get to where he wants to go, and see that day-to-day process. I'll see. I might take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, 4 steps forward, 1 step back, right? It's going to be that kind of jumble of things. But my mindset from here on is completely positive. It is completely in the headspace and the direction that I actually want to be in. And just me starting with this one video is how I begin this next leg of what I want to do. So that's kind of my 2 cents on things. I know that was a little jumbled up. It's been a while since I made a video like this, so looking at a camera and getting a straight, clear line of thoughts out isn't as easy as it looks. I'm going to try to get better at it. I'm going to be more entertaining. This was more of like a serious, like, I understand where you are. I understand if you're feeling a certain way. There's ways out of it. Maybe being accountable yourself by putting things online, putting things out there, telling people about it, right? Just speaking your manifestations, putting it in groups that you want certain things, you're aspiring to do certain things, but then actually taking action for it. People realize that, people notice it, and the energy comes back to you that you put out. So all I want is growth for everybody. All I want is to be able to help my mom financially. At some point, there's a lot going on with that right now in my life, and I feel a responsibility towards that. And I want to build a portfolio of investment property. So those are my 2 biggest things: help my mom build my portfolio of investment property, but also generate money in the process to help myself survive, because that's pretty much the main goal right now. But yeah, so if this gave you some insight, if this gave you some kind of like, oh, I can see how that might feel that way, or oh, I can see I felt that same way and I used this to get from A to Z and make myself feel better, maybe get back on my own 2 feet, keep myself more accountable, do the things that I said I wanted to do. And if I can help you do that, then I've done my job. If I can help one person do that, then I've done my job. But yeah, so I want to thank everybody. If you're watching this video, my future content is going to be more upbeat. I'm going to be out doing things, but I kind of wanted to get this little refresh onto the channel and hopefully look back at this in 5-6 years from now and be like, wow, both the channel and myself have come a long way, and I've been able to help a ton of people in the process. So if you want to talk, my Instagram is @JackTroy. I'll put it in the description, and I'll put it probably somewhere in the video. And I also have my podcast. I'll tag that down below if you want to listen to certain topics. I have more of a fluid conversation about it. I have interviews on there from years ago. I started the podcast back in 2018. It's just on mental health, self-development, entrepreneurship, that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to push it 100%, but I'm going to upload the equal amount of content on YouTube as I do there, and then post it on all my social media so everyone sees it. Completely open, completely transparent, and I hope you guys are able to grow along with me in this process. If you have any questions, again, DM me, and I'll see you in the next video.